Hey, Tracy, so glad to have you here on Tiny Changes Big Shift podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Vicki. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us about you, what you're up to.
Okay. Well, my name is Tracy Record, and I am the single mother of two burgeoning teenage goddesses. And I'm 54. And after 14 years of practicing criminal defense, I am now the program director for legal studies at Kaiser University, which is a career college. And it really is my dream job. I'm so happy to be in this position. I wanted to get into Kaiser, where my brother works, for 7 or 8 years. I've been trying. So this is really fantastic. I like to help students along their career path. I also am an independent consultant for the Body Shop at Home. So
Yes.
I help people with their self-care routine, with ethically sourced, mostly vegan, really effective and delicious smelling products. And I like to kayak, I like to be in nature, and I love to go to music festivals at a campground called the Spirit of the Swanee Music Park in Live Oak, Florida. I have a whole family of people that we camp with there when there's a music festival. So we're hoping they're back soon.
Wonderful. So you're super busy, a single mom with two jobs.
Yes, yes.
I bet you can say I don't have time.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to get something done, ask a busy person.
Exactly. Exactly. So, how do you define harmony? What does harmony look like for you?
Well, in thinking about that question, harmony is a musical word, right? And
It is.
I really love music. And I use music to help raise my vibration, to improve my mood. And the first thing that popped in my mind when thinking about harmony was this great song by the Indigo Girls called Kid Fears. And Michael Stipe from REM gets on and they do a 3-part harmony in the middle of the song, and it's beautiful. So harmony is when all the parts are working together and to make something beautiful.
I love that concept. The idea of harmony versus balance. We're talking today about harmony and alignment with vision, beliefs, and action. So, the idea that people talk a lot about, well, I have to have balance between home and work, but maybe your concept of all the parts working together is a great way to say, let's shoot for that, because we know some days work takes over, right? I mean, the job is the job, and some days home takes over, so it can't ever be perfectly balanced, right?
True, true.
Yeah. Hmm. And music is a great way to do that. How does that relate, do you think, to alignment with your vision, beliefs, and actions?
Well, my vision has been a long time coming. I've been in the work for a while, and the work of self-love, of transformation, of learning, of growing. And I think about the job that I used to have. And I was a criminal defense attorney. And I loved that job. In fact, when I taught at Tallahassee Community College in Tallahassee, in the paralegal program, I could write out for my students in an outline with lots of subparts and subparts as to all the ways I liked my job and the reasons why I liked my job. But it took a long time for me to realize that even though I loved my job, it was not in alignment with my purpose and my vision, because there's too much conflict, too much conflict. And even though I felt like I was helping people, which is part of my vision, and making a difference, the conflict and just bumping my head up against the wall every single day, with every actor in that whole arena, was killing my soul.
Yeah.
And
I can so relate to you on that, because I was an accountant for 20 plus years, and I had that exact feeling like, yes, I help people. Yes, I make a difference, but it didn't feel fulfilling if I stopped and really thought. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And so, I believe, and I think you do too, Vicki, that, we create everything in our lives,
Yes.
whether it's consciously or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think my soul just said, "Hey, let me out," and, created some chaos in my life, that was painful. But then again, there's no growth without that pain. And
Exactly.
so it, that process was painful, but it was exactly what needed to happen when it needed to happen. And this opportunity presented itself. And so therefore I was in a good position to be able to accept the position. And now that I feel like I'm doing something that is in alignment with my vision, and I work in this environment that's nurturing and supportive and positive, and I'm using my law degree, but I'm not in the conflict all the time. Yeah. So I've really just started to realize or remember, right? Remember, because it was there all the time. I just forgot all the things that give me joy, and it feels great. It feels great.
So then it's easier once you know your vision, and it sounds like yours is to impact people, be helpful, and experience peace.
Yes. Yes.
Would you add anything to that?
Experience peace, learn, and have fun.
Yeah. Yes, you are a fun-loving soul. I know that about you. You're a joy. You're a joy that way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you enjoy your job, then does it follow that you'd be more productive because you'd like showing up there, I suppose, first?
Well, at first you would think, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But again, like, even though I loved my job as a criminal defense attorney, sometimes it was difficult to go to work or to, really face what I needed to do because I wasn't in alignment. So, going back to harmony, you could like your job, but I think it's more important to be in alignment and like it as well, because you're going to be more productive.
Yeah.
But I think that when you're busy and productive, it can feel like there's no time. Yes. So even if you are doing something that you like, you may get depleted because you don't take that time out for yourself. I hope it's not just, something that everyone says all the time, but, they say that you have to put the air mask on yourself, right? Yeah. Because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? I'm mixing my metaphors here, but, I truly believe that. Now, I wasn't raised that way. My mom raised me like that you're not a good mom unless you're a martyr. Like, you're suffering and you're giving, you're bleeding for your children. But I don't subscribe to that, because I believe that if someone said this to me a while ago, your kids are entitled to a happy mom. And it's
Yes.
true. You're going to be a better mom if you are filled up, right? And you're happy.
Yes. Yes. You definitely will. And I love that. Your kids deserve a happy mom.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people say that some of their limiting beliefs or the things that they struggle with are not feeling good enough or not enough. I'm not enough.
Yeah.
But while that lands for me in some ways, what lands for me more is that I'm too much. Because I was always someone who was, told I was too loud, I was too fast, I was too intense, too emotional, too everything, right? So there's this woman, and I'm so sorry, I meant to write down her name because I want to make sure that I give her credit. But if you Google this, you'll find her. She says, "You can't dim the sun." And
yes.
I love that so much. And what I recently was watching her, and I heard her say something that was so impactful for me. I get excited about things, and I try new things, and I say, "Oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to do this," and then I don't follow through with it. And so I wanted to break that cycle. And she was talking about the exact same thing. It's funny how things show up in our life, right, when we need it.
Yeah.
And I never tuned into her Facebook Live before, but I did this day, and I heard what I needed to hear. And she said, what you need to do is establish one thing, one small thing. And it has to be embarrassingly small, but it's one thing that you're going to do every single day. And you're going to promise yourself to do that one thing every single day. And even if you get to the point you say, "Hey, I'm really doing this," like, let's say you say, "I'm going to meditate for 1 minute every day."
Yeah.
And then you say, "Hey, that was kind of easy. I'm going to bump it up to 5. No, don't do that. Do the 1 minute for 2-3 weeks until you get it anchored, and you are able to keep that promise to yourself every day, so that you then begin to trust yourself again, and know that you are doing that one thing. And so you can be incredibly busy if you do that one thing, whatever it is. If it's, I'm going to drink a glass of water in the morning, or I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to journal, or whatever it is, you can do it. And you just start out with a ridiculously small commitment, and then keep it. And then once you begin to trust yourself, then you can add other things in.
Yeah. You bring in an important point about being in alignment with promises to yourself, because we all do that, and we make promises to ourselves. We call them goals.
Or resolutions.
Resolutions, yeah.
Right.
And then if we don't meet that goal, then you're right, it erodes our self-esteem, and we don't trust ourselves. So I love that concept of picking one thing. It goes along with my theory. Tiny changes can bring big shifts, because you do rebuild yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have an example of how your vision statement has helped you make a decision you need to make that you might have made different before you had one? Or your personal purpose or fulfillment or whatever?
Yes. Actually, very recently, as in today, I, you outlined that I want to experience peace. And one of my daughters went through something that was painful for her today. And it was painful to watch her go through that. So it was painful for me. And, as a mom, I just want to fix it. And my personality is not only to fix it, but to sort of take over and say what you need to do, what you have to do. And, with some help from my support network, I took a step back and, thought about my vision and realized that I can just say, I'm here for you if you need me. And, I know you're going to pull through this. I believe in you, and I know you're going to handle this. And I'm here to support you if you need it. Just let me know, instead of just, like bull in a china shop, go in there and say, I'm going to fix everything. So that helped me today.
That's beautiful. That's just beautiful. Yeah. What a different message, too. You're letting her have her dignity and integrity. And that can apply in the work world. I mean, especially if you're a manager or an executive or a boss and you think you have to take over and tell someone how to do it or how to be, instead of exactly what you communicated to your daughter. I'm here to support you. I know you can handle it. I have faith in you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like, I'm not quite finished yet, but I'm reading this book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
Mm.
And she also says something similar in there. She says, you don't need to save your kids. Your kids need to see you save yourself.
Yes, that's beautiful. So if we're not taking that time that we say we don't have for self-care, we're also modeling that for our children, aren't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we're teaching them, you don't have time for it either. We say it's important, and yet we don't create it for us, so we don't model for them how to create it for themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. And,
Mm-hmm.
what you want for your kids is you definitely want to break the cycle. You don't want them to make the same mistakes that you had. Now they're going to learn their own set of mistakes. There's nothing you can do, or they're going to have their own set of mistakes, lessons that they learn from those. But, yeah, you can't do it for them.
Right. As much as we'd love to.
Right.
Yeah. I have 5 kids, so I know. I know there's been times when I wanted to take over and do it for them and do for them what they should do for themselves, because, and I love what you said earlier. It was painful for her, so it was painful for you. So sometimes just to relieve that pain, we'll take action instead of just be with whatever is happening in the moment.
Right. Sit with that feeling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wants that? Who wants
Yeah.
that?
Right.
Yeah.
But, we spend I spent so many years not doing that, you know,
Yeah.
um, not feeling those feelings. So it's important to acknowledge it. I mean, you don't want it to take over, you don't want to sit in it for a long time.
Right.
But, you got to feel your feelings and then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and, what's the next right step?
Right. And having a family plus a job, and you've got two, it can be hard to take that time for yourself. What ways do you take care of yourself?
Um, well, I find, and I'm learning this, it's crazy that I'm 54 and I'm learning this. But time alone in nature is so restorative for me. So I've been wanting to for a really long time, and I finally bought myself a kayak. And so it's easy for me to just throw it in the back of my car, and just go off. And I get up earlier than anybody else in the house. So I just take off, and, mostly on the weekends. And even if I'm out there for just an hour or, a couple hours, and I come back, I'm peaceful. Um, it's very, very, very restorative. I also, have a great support network. I have a lot of people in the transformational community and in my, just circle of friends who we lift each other up, and, connecting with them is very, very helpful and part of my self-care,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love
And
a good massage too every now and then.
yes, me too.
Oh, love to squeeze those in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think an attitude. You mentioned earlier that you work in a very positive environment right now. It doesn't have all the same bumping against each other conflict that you had in as a criminal defense attorney.
I
Yeah, I think that's really important to recognize that it all adds. It's all the pieces of the whole that are starting to work together. Good support in your network, good support in your job. Yeah, good support with
absolutely.
family and friends.
Yeah.
Sets the stage.
Um, and if you can get by in those situations, you can survive, right?
Right.
If you're in an environment like my last job, between being a criminal defense attorney and this job, for 18 months, I sold digital marketing. And that was an environment that was very micromanaging. It was not lots of pats on the back and telling you you're valued or anything like that, like the job I have now. So you can survive, but at some point, you're going to get to a place where you say, this is not good enough for me. And you're going to realize that you are not in alignment and that you want something more. So, like, there's your desire comes out of that contrast. If you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want. And so it's fantastic to be in an environment that is the way it should be. I mean, they interview employees, doing these surveys or statistics or whatever, and in the interviews, the employees say above anything else, above pay, above title, what they want to be valued, right?
Yes.
They want to feel valued. So if you're in a working environment where you feel valued, now that's a really, really good situation to be in. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It adds that extra lift. I love what you said about surviving, that you can survive or even be at one level of happiness, but know there's another level.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and not know how to create that for yourself. Uh, I was there, and I think about leaving my job sometimes. I think, hmm, and then I think, well, I'm getting closer to retirement age. I'll wait until I retire. I might as well just hold it here. And then little did I know, like you said, there's painful events that happen sometimes. Here I had an opportunity to create a whole new career. So, and this one is so much more fulfilling and does feel like it's in alignment with my purpose and my vision, which is to experience joy, freedom, and love. And I just think, especially freedom,
Yeah,
especially
freedom.
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 Yeah, yeah. Freedom from the idea that you have to show up and that you can't, that it's okay to settle, even. It's okay to settle because we have bills to pay, right? So
Right.
we all have that excuse. Well, I can settle because I have bills to pay and, whatever. Well, you've been such a great guest. I've loved your insights. I've loved your comments. Is there,
Thank you.
I know you said you um, have your side hustle. You want to tell us more about that? How to get in touch with you about that?
Sure. If you want to connect with me on Facebook, just search my name, Tracy Record. That's how you find me on Facebook, and then I can invite you to my Facebook group called Karmic Cosmetics. And if you'd like to just shop around, you can go to my website, which is hippiehealthandbeauty.com.
I read that and I love it. Say that again.
Yeah, it's called hippiehealthandbeauty.com, and it's all spelled out, just all smushed together, hippiehealthandbeauty.com. And that'll take you right to the shopping link for Body Shop. And if you click on shop, you'll see a search bar, but also you'll see categories. And if you click on that, there'll be a whole list of categories, whether you want, body care or skin care, hand creams, whatever it is. But also in there will be the current promotions. So right now we have 20% off any body care, and it'll show you right there. And also, I sent to you, Vicki, the 5 and 35. Which is something that I use. It's like a chart to help me keep track of my progress. So, I started with the, one promise to myself, one ridiculously easy promise to myself. But now, as I've been able to add more things, I have this whole chart. So I have a chart of the things that I do every day, and I love to look at check marks and see I did everything that I agreed to do every day. And then so I gave you one that's an example of what I'm doing right now, and then I gave you another one that's a little bit more generic, and it covers 5 domains in your life. And so it's 5 and 35. So it's 5 things, 7 days a week. That's 35 boxes. And, as long as you do one thing in each of those domains, like faith or finances, I saved all my change. I put all my change in the penny bucket or whatever you call it. Then you filled up that bucket that day. So every day you get to make some progress in each of those 5 domains. So that could be a tool that could be helpful to your listeners.
Very helpful. I will share that with them. I think that would be great, because I think we can tend to minimize it and think little things don't matter. But like you're saying, it started with 1, and now you've got a chart with 35 boxes.
Yeah.
You get to check off and see.
Yeah, and you get to make progress in each one of these areas of your life, the 5 important domains. And, I think it all comes back to what you said, tiny changes, because that is going to create a big shift. If you, commit to one thing, and then it's easy to commit to another thing. And I love that.
I do too.
And you're the perfect person. I've personally been coached by you, Vicki. And you really do. You are a stand for what other people say they want to do. So I highly recommend your coaching services, because I've benefited from them greatly.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for being here. And as I say goodbye to my guests, thank you for being here and sharing with us today. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review and like. I'm open to emails from listeners, and I'd love to hear your ideas and challenges. You can find me on Facebook at Vicki, VICKIDCC, and at vickidon.com on my website. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and I have a YouTube channel, and I have a Linktree, Linktree, linktr.ee/Vicki Don, and you can find ways to subscribe to my podcast there. So remember, as we sign off, you create your beautiful life one moment at a time. Thank you. Until next time.